The world was no longer ignorant. Something had changed after the clash between the First Warden and the Null Guardian, and humanity could feel it in subtle, unsettling ways. Cities experienced moments of unnatural silence, as if sound itself paused to listen. Forests grew denser at their edges, reclaiming land that had been barren for decades. Even the oceans behaved differently, tides moving with a rhythm scientists could not explain. The balance was alive, and it was adjusting. Daniel watched it all unfold from the Lost Valley, which had become both calmer and more powerful than ever before. The valley no longer radiated raw energy. Instead, it felt intelligent, aware of the wider world. The Warden's presence was everywhere now, not as a single being, but as a network of guardianship woven into stone, water, wind, and root. Bigfoot's legacy had not faded. It had multiplied, but evolution always invites resistance. Deep within the fractured space between dimensions, the ancient intelligence that once commanded the rifts observed the aftermath with growing concern. The Null Guardian had failed, not because it was weak, but because it lacked understanding. Control alone could not defeat balance. So the intelligence shifted its strategy once more. This time, it would not create a guardian. It would corrupt one. The corruption began quietly. In a forgotten mountain range far from any known guardian site, a dormant seal cracked open. This place had once been protected by an early guardian long before Bigfoot's kind existed. That guardian had fallen, its essence sealed away rather than absorbed by the earth. Now, that essence began to stir, twisted by centuries of isolation and touched by the ancient intelligence's influence. The result was something new and terrifying. Daniel first learned of it through scattered reports. Hikers spoke of forests that bent inward, paths looping endlessly. Animals fled entire regions overnight. Compasses spun uselessly, and electronic devices failed without explanation. At the center of it all was a presence that felt wrong, not cold like the Null Guardian, not calm like the Warden, but hungry. They called it the Hollow Warden. Unlike the First Warden, the Hollow Warden did not protect balance. It mimicked it. It wore the shape of guardianship while feeding on imbalance, growing stronger with every disrupted ecosystem and every frightened mind. It was not born of sacrifice or control, but of abandonment. The First Warden sensed it immediately. From within the Lost Valley, the earth pulsed with alarm. Trees trembled, rivers altered course slightly, redirecting energy toward the disturbance. The Warden understood the danger. This enemy could not be destroyed through force alone. Killing it would only release corrupted energy back into the world. For the first time since Bigfoot's transformation, the Warden reached out, to humanity. Daniel felt the connection as clearly as a voice calling his name. Images filled his mind. The mountain range, the twisted forests, the shadow moving between stones. But more than that, he felt intent. The Warden was asking for help. Humanity had always been protected from the truth. Now it was being invited into it. Daniel wasn't alone. Across the globe, others experienced the same pull. Scientists who had studied anomalies their entire lives, indigenous elders who had guarded ancient stories, children who sensed things adults ignored. They were drawn not physically, but mentally, toward the truth of guardianship. The Hollow Warden struck before they could fully gather. Entire valleys collapsed inward, not through destruction, but erasure. Life simply vanished, leaving behind perfectly still landscapes devoid of energy. The Hollow Warden absorbed everything, motion, sound, growth, leaving behind silence that even the wind avoided. The First Warden intervened, emerging fully for the first time since the Null Guardian's defeat. Stone and light formed its body as it stepped into the corrupted mountains. The ground stabilized beneath its presence, resisting collapse. For a brief moment, balance returned. Then the Hollow Warden revealed its true nature. It spoke, not with words, but with emotion, rage, loneliness, betrayal. It showed the Warden memories of being forgotten, sealed away while the world moved on. It accused the Guardians of choosing favorites, of allowing some sacrifices to be remembered while others were buried. The First Warden did not deny it. Instead, it did something unprecedented. It lowered its defenses. Daniel felt the shock ripple across the world. The Warden was offering itself, not as an enemy, but as a witness. It shared Bigfoot's memories again, but this time, it added something new, regret. The understanding that guardianship had evolved imperfectly, leaving scars behind. The Hollow Warden hesitated. That hesitation allowed humanity's role to finally emerge. Guided by the Warden's connection, Daniel and others began acting, not with weapons, but with restoration. Protected zones were expanded. Corrupted lands were stabilized through deliberate, careful intervention. Humanity, for the first time, chose balance knowingly rather than accidentally. The Hollow Warden weakened as imbalance diminished. But the ancient intelligence had not retreated. It watched with fascination. Guardians evolving. Humans participating. The system it sought to control was becoming unpredictable again. And unpredictability was dangerous. So it prepared its final response. A signal echoed across dimensions, one not meant to create or corrupt Guardians, but to end them entirely. The signal targeted the source itself, the Lost Valley. Daniel felt it instantly. The valley shook, not violently, but deeply, like a wounded giant stirring. The ground cracked at the original stone platform where Bigfoot had merged with the earth. Light flared, then dimmed. The Warden turned back toward home. The Hollow Warden, sensing the greater threat, made a choice of its own. It followed. Enemies and protectors converged, drawn by the same truth. The Lost Valley was not just a place. It was the anchor of guardianship on Earth. If it fell, balance would unravel completely. As the three forces approached, the First Warden, the Hollow Warden, and the ancient intelligence pressing from beyond, Daniel stood at the heart of the valley, knowing that Part 33 was not about a battle. It was about a decision. The Age of Guardians had reached a crossroads. Sacrifice, control, corruption, and choice now stood together, waiting to see which path the world would take. And for the first time in history, humanity would not be watching from the shadows. The valley's light rose slowly into the sky. The final convergence had begun.